Hey, what's up, everybody? You know, the number one thing that slows every new designer down in Photoshop? That would be selections. If you're still manually tracing edges with the Lasso tool in 2026, you're working way too hard. So today, I'm going to show you the power of selection in Adobe Photoshop. We're going to talk about things like Select Subject and the Object Selection tool. We're going to start with the one-click wonder that is the Select Subject tool. And I have this portrait here, and I want to isolate the portrait from the background. It's never been easier. You can do this by just clicking on your specific layer and looking for the Contextual Task Bar. You'll see here we have a Select Subject button. If you don't see this taskbar, go to Window and look for Contextual Task Bar. Now, one thing we want to do before we select the subject is we want to dial in the power of the Select Subject tool. And I'm going to do that by going to Edit, Preferences, and we're going to look for Image Processing. Now, if you're on a Mac, you would just go to that Photoshop icon to find that, but we're going to go to Image Processing, open this up, and select Subject and remove Background. I want you to switch that to Cloud. This is going to give you a faster processing power, and it's going to require internet access, so just be mindful of that, but it's going to be a faster tool. So I'm going to hit OK there, and that's going to save my preferences. And now we're ready to click that Select Subject button, and in a matter of seconds, it precisely selects the element. So you can see the AI has analyzed the image, it's found the person, it created that path instantly. This is cleaner than ever. It even handled tricky areas like the spaces between the shoulders and the hair. Once you have your area selected, just go ahead and hit the mask button on the contextual taskbar, and there you have it. You have a precise, clean selection. But what if we wanted a little more surgical precision with our selection? Maybe we just want to select something like the jacket. Traditional ways would be getting the pen tool or getting the lasso tool and trying to select and add and subtract from our selection. But instead, we're going to move down to the object selection tool. The object selection tool has some really unique abilities. Here at the top of the screen, you can find that Select Subject tool, or you can go to the Select People tool, and it will automatically recognize the people in your scene. I'm going to click on my face here, and then we're going to look at some of the options. We can isolate things like hair, eyes, even down to eye color, upper skin, arms, you name it. But notice it even noticed I had a coat. So I'm going to select coat and hit apply. And with that selection, it precisely grabs all the elements in the coat. We can go ahead now and add an adjustment layer. So let's do layer, new adjustment layer, and let's do hue and saturation. And we're going to click on use previous layer as clip mask. And now y'all, we can go ahead and adjust by hitting colorize, and we can change the color of that jacket. How cool is that? With a matter of a few simple clicks. Now, I know what you're saying, but what if I have more than one person in this shot? Well, that's where the object selection tool really shines. So if I switch over to this group shot and I look at all the different elements, when I'm on the object selection tool, I can go ahead and hover over the different parts and different elements of each person, even down to the plants in the background or the vase, or even down to even simple things like the rug. It automatically detects the elements in your scene, which is really amazing. Anything that's highlighted, if I just left click, I'll have the ability to mask that and eventually change its color. So for instance, if I select this gentleman's shirt here in the center, and I want to go and change that with a layer mask, new adjustment layer, hue and saturation, use click. I can now simply colorize that. Now I can also just isolate things like the yellow within that selection. So it did grab the sleeves, but with the new hue and saturation isolation elements, we can go ahead and we can change it to a color of our desire. So it's never been easier to select an element. So very, very cool. Now, if you want to add to your selections with the object selection tool, super easy. You're going to just go through, and if you go ahead and click on one element and hold shift, you can go through and click multiple elements. If you hold your Alt or your Command key, you can deselect those elements. It's kind of like painting a selection without all the mess. Stop fighting with your pixels and let the AI do the heavy lifting. If you found this workflow helpful, drop a thanks in the comments and subscribe for more tech talks. Thanks everybody, and I'll see you in the next lesson.